Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
And this is the part of the week I really look forward to as we welcome into the program a gentleman who's educated me a lot over the years, and possibly you as well, but even he has to go back to school occasionally. Off to drama school is Ralph McAllister. Ralph, good morning and welcome to you today.
Amy, I've just drawn up outside Taikari Drama School, and a lot of your listeners might not remember where it is, except the old Winter Show building in Newtown.
Right up the top, yes.
Some years ago it was converted into beautiful premises, world class. I've been to drama schools all over the world, and this is easily one of the most wonderful facilities with both dance and drama rooms, teaching and so on. Anyway, I just thought I'd start with their new production, which is just finished, of Stephen Sondheim's Merrily We Roll Along, which was a major flop when it was first performed in 1981. And the audiences walked out, they couldn't understand the plot, and it was so difficult that they changed the costumes after a couple of days and put everybody in the same T-shirts with names on the front, because it's a plot that works backwards, starting in the 1978, and going backwards to Sputnik days. But the audiences were just totally bemused. Now, this production at drama school, the first thing to say is it's a wonderful showpiece for the actors and the dancers. There are 20 of them on stage, and we don't see this in theatre very much these days, do we? You know, there's just days of economy, small casts, and so on. So on that level, it was a wonderful success in terms of showcasing each and every one of the talents on board. I wasn't so happy with the production. It made for very difficult acoustics. They did it in a sort of round shape, or audience on three sides anyway. And it made for, I know Sondheim is so difficult in terms of delivering clarity, and his lyrics are so witty and wonderful. If you think of West Side Story and Sweeney Todd and Follies, the list is endless.
It sure is.
This is not one of his best, but I was pleased I went. Let's put it that way.
Excellent. Sondheim, it seemed that it took many years for him to be appreciated, but latterly you'll find a lot of his productions on Broadway being re-recorded, and I think there's sort of a latter-day appreciation of who was obviously an outstanding talent and creative, well, I'm going to say genius, because I think it touched that on occasions.
I couldn't agree more with you. I've always said that, and I've lived with Sondheim since I was quite young, and I was very, very privileged to do the New Zealand premiere of Sweeney Todd, his musical. And I had so much difficulty with some of our musicians because they felt the whole thing was too cluttered, too complicated, and it is one of the great classics now of the musical stage, and of course it's done in opera houses all over the world. So I agree with you. He is a genius, and he's still around. I think he's 86 now. He's had his 80th a couple of years back. So I take every opportunity to listen. In fact, I'm going to have lunch with somebody today who actually auditioned for Merrily We Roll Along on Broadway. He didn't get the role, but that started a lifelong affair for him as well.
Goodness me. Yes, I must say, I'm an enormous fan of Sondheim. And you've been reading as well, of course, haven't you, sir?
Oh, yes. Well, I've just been reading the other half of the Booker Prize, which I'm not going to talk about now because I'm only halfway through the half of the Booker Prize. So I'll talk about that with you next week. Wonderful book called Girl, Woman, Other. And but I would like to just cover Richard Russo. That's Russo.
Yes.
It's a new book. It's called Chances Are. And it's about three 60-year-olds who were students together in the 60s and 70s. And they come back for a reunion almost 50 years later. Story of Lincoln, who's a real estate man, and Teddy, who's a religious books maniac, and Mickey, who's a musician who's never quite grown up. He still drives a Harley Davidson. And it's just a memory hoard, reminiscences, funny, touching. I love Richard Russo. He's one of my favorite American authors. I discovered him quite by chance years ago when he won the Pulitzer Prize for Empire Falls. And I read everything he's done. And if you're interested in reminiscences, a bit of a mystery thriller, a bit of, oh dear, what if we'd done this and we didn't, or what if we hadn't done this and we did, this is the book for you. I got it at Paper Plus just the other day, and I read it in just over a day, and I think it's a really lovely present you could give to certain people who are looking back. Let's put it that way.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. And I must say, I think there's a lot of musos would relate to the fact that the muso never grew up. And just in that short phrase, you realise it's got a certain authenticity.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Warmly recommended.
That's Richard Russo's Chances Are. And Ralph McAllister, thank you so much for joining us today here on Beach FM. Thank you.
You're welcome.
There we are, Richard Russo.
106.3 Beach FM.